Greetings, all you kitten lovers, and welcome to Undeclared Bajor, a Star Trek Deep Space Nine rewatch. My name is Fletcher. About to say hello is Data.
Hello. That was my German hello.
Very nice, very nice. Today's show is our retrospective of Season 1. Alternate title for the season, The Good, the Bad, and the Wadi.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
I like that.
A quick note on spoilers in case our rewatch is your first watch. Expect full spoilers through this season and an appropriate minimum of minor spoilers for later seasons, but nothing too bad, like when it turns out Rom is Kaiser Soze.
I'd be surprised.
I mean, it fits. I thought we'd start off by I've done some analysis on our rankings that we've been doing the whole season.
Okay.
And I've come up with a pretty good top 5 and bottom 3. Although it's a little bit tricky because, number 5 is a tie between Progress and Dramatis Personae.
All right.
Because combined, we gave it 5. We gave both episodes the same number of pips, 5.5 combined.
Okay.
Except, I have Progress at number 3, and you have Progress at number 10. And I have Dramatis Personae at number 6, and you have Dramatis Personae at number 7. So they both add up to 13. But I don't know which one should count as higher.
Wait, so I'm looking at the end of In the Hands of the Prophets, and it shows that I have Progress at 11.
You have Progress at 11. Oh my gosh. Hold on a sec. This could change everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, wow, you sure do. Okay, Dramatis Personae is our number 5.
Okay.
We gave it a combined score of, I believe, now I have to recheck my whole ratings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So we gave it a combined 5.5. I gave it 3. You gave it 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much we want to say about these episodes. I mean, this one I just found amusing for the story of Odo basically having to trick the rest of the people into solving the problem for him.
That's always good.
Yep. So yeah, anything you want to say quickly about this episode? If you feel it's justified in this spot,
to justify it in the spot that it's in,
or if you feel maybe it's too high or too low, because we did rank it 6 and 7, and now that bumps it up to number 5.
Yeah, that is an interesting occurrence, but no, I think it's fine there. Honestly, since it was apparently Progress was almost a tie, and that was my lowest ranked of the lieutenant commanders, I'm like, okay, well then we're in good shape. I'd much put Dramatis Persona over that.
And IMDb gives that a 7.0.
So similar to what we gave it.
Yeah. I guess you gotta kind of think how these IMDb ratings translate into our rating system, but
yeah,
I think that's a pretty fair score. Anyway, number 4 is Emissary Parts 1 and 2, which I'm combining into one episode.
And we had that rated 5 and 6, so it moved up a little bit overall. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Emissary is a very solid start to this this show.
I mean, we talked about Emissary a lot, so
yeah,
it's not like there's a lot more to say. IMDb gives it 7.5, which is, again, I think pretty fair for that episode. Moving up, we have at number 3 Past Prologue, which I believe we both gave a commander.
Yep.
Let's see, that was the second episode 3, but really episode 2.
Mm-hmm. Just a solid follow up. I feel like in researching IMDb reviews for this one, there were a lot of people who did not feel it was a good follow up, that it was a come down from the first episode, but I don't agree with them clearly.
Well, whenever you're watching a show, it's kind of the episode after the pilot that it sort of sets expectations in a way. I don't know. Because you watch the pilot, and then, it's all shiny and new, and then now it's finally time to settle down into the show.
You're going to see what the show is supposed to actually be about now.
Yep. I think they did a pretty good job following up. They kind of hit the ground running with the whole Kira character.
Mm-hmm.
So Pretty good. Yeah, IMDb 7.1. I think that's pretty low for that episode. I would have given it, I don't know, maybe an 8 or so in the IMDb scale.
Just looking past that now, I don't think there's any doubt about what's going to be number 2 and number 1, given that they both rated the same way.
Yeah, so obviously, number 2, In the Hands of the Prophets, we both gave it a commander. That was our very last episode, so if you want to hear our thoughts on that,
rewind one video.
Go back one in the YouTube playlist.
To where Allison Fordyce has commented first.
Yeah.
As if there's a big runoff for that contest.
Yeah. What of if there's a second, that's a prize, I think. Good Allison Fordyce shout out. She was just complaining that our shout out of her in the previous one was too subtle or something. I don't know. Yes, and then IMDb gave that a 7.7. Again, I think that's a little bit low.
Yeah, a little bit low, I think. I agree.
For that episode.
Given that they gave Dax a 7 point something, then yes.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. And then our top episode, I think it's no surprise. It was Duet. We both gave it a captain.
Yep.
IMDb gave it 9.0. I mean,
yeah, that's about right.
Nobody's hating on this episode. This is not a controversial pick for top. I mean, pretty good. Going to our bottom 3.
It's the same. We have the same 3 at the bottom each. The order is slightly different. So, how do you decide between the Storyteller and Move Along Home? Given that, but you gave Move Along Home slightly higher rating than I did. Okay, I got
so Move Along Home and Dax are just evenly tied for second to last place because they both have a combined, 2.5 pips?
Yeah, because you gave both of them the Lieutenant Junior grade, and I gave both of them an ensign. So
yep, and then you have Dax above Move Along Home. I'm not looking at it right now. Yeah, you have Dax above Move Along Home, and then I have it below Move Along Home. So it's they're just evenly tied, for us. And then, of course, Move Along Home has a 5.8 on IMDb. Dax bafflingly has a 7.1, which
no accounting for taste.
Yeah, I guess. This is, I guess, because we've seen the whole series, we know the Dax character, and just I don't want to rehash our many complaints about this episode.
No,
but...
yeah, and it's just we've talked about that plenty. There are a lot of the reviews because I read reviews for that also, and it was just this is such a creative new topic to address this, and we were both just but they would have addressed it before now. It doesn't make sense that this is so there's just so much logically wrong with the episode that within the logic of the episode, it totally doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, I think what makes most people like it is they like kind of the basic premise of can a person be held responsible for a past life or whatever.
Yeah.
And, people who haven't had 7 seasons of Dax.
Right.
Many better explorations of that concept. And then, of course, the very bottom episode, the Storyteller. Each gave it an ensign, lowest possible rating.
Yep.
Just an absolute dud of an episode.
So true.
Ranked higher than Move Along Home. I maintain Move Along Home still has a little bit of just watchability for its. It's
it's got the silly, fun.
Yeah.
Kind the Wadi are amusing to watch, if nothing else. So.
And I just like speculating that the Wadi are just trolls.
Yeah, right.
It just makes the episode so much more entertaining.
Ala Moraine.
Ugh. And then that part that hopscotch part that I consider the acting test of the season of who's a pro and just who will break. Weirdly, Storyteller got higher than Move Along Home. People really hate Move Along Home, I guess, or they love to hate on it.
Yeah.
Storyteller was just such a. So we're comparing our list to IMDb. IMDb, Dax is at number 5 with. I put it at number 5 because it has 7.1 with 2,183 votes when I compiled this list.
Mm-hmm.
Past Prologue 7.1 also, but slightly more votes. So
Okay, so you put that above.
I'm giving that a credibility score. So.
Sure. So they agree with us that past prologue is high on the list at least.
Sure. It just how you can put those, like, I think past prologue is too low. I think Dax is way too high, but what you gonna do?
Right.
Emissary is number 3, 7.6. Captive Pursuit, 7.6.
Interesting.
So Emissary and Captive Pursuit are, I guess, tied for number 3.
Interesting. Because you have Captive Pursuit as like solidly middle of the season, and mine it's kind of in the lower half of the season. So it's interesting that's also higher on their list.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. I totally get it though, because like independent of being a Deep Space Nine episode, just the whole Tosk Hunter concept I really love, and Tosk is a fun character. In the Hands of the Prophets, number 2, Duet number 1. No surprise there. And their bottom episodes are The Passenger at 3rd worst.
That's not far off from where we had it. So.
Yeah, that is totally fair. Like, Passenger totally belongs in the bottom 3. Unless you just want to see just some great acting by Alexander Siddig. Storyteller 6.0.
Yep.
And then Move Along Home 5.8. We already talked about that.
Very, very similar to our list. I mean, if you took Dax out of the bottom 3 on your list, then your bottom 3 are the same as their bottom 3.
Yeah.
More or less.
So, just a few, like, just Dax being high is, I think, the main difference. And then Captive Pursuit also, I think, is a little bit more beloved by the people than by us. But
the people.
Yeah. What do the people know?
It'll be interesting when we get into seasons where there's where things are more established, and because it's pretty easy to call, like Move Along Home being at the bottom, Storyteller being at the bottom, Duet and Hands of the Prophets being at the top.
Yeah.
Like, because this season has some big swings. It has really good and it has really bad. So when we get into some of the more middling seasons, it'll be interesting to see how we compare with the general populace.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe future seasons won't be quite as much as a roller coaster ride of quality, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, from here I want to move on to a segment I call the CZ Awards. Some awards for the season. And I think the way I'll do this is I came up with some categories.
Okay.
I will list a few nominees for those categories, and we can discuss who we think wins.
All right.
So my first award is Best Recurring Character Introduction. So mild spoilers, but they are Gul Dukat in Emissary, Garrick in Past Prologue, Grand Nagus Zek in The Nagus, and Vedic Win in The Hands of the Prophets.
I think I could have predicted all of those.
Yeah.
Would be your picks. Okay.
So these are the nominations. So
right. No, yeah. But I mean, since you nominated them, clearly you've picked these out as good possibilities.
Right.
I noticed Loaxana Troy did not make your list.
Well, okay, she's in a different category.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to double dip anybody in a category. So just not judging what we know about the future of the series, but just how the character was introduced in this series. What do you think?
So of that list, I'm going to put Dukat at the bottom because I don't feel like he got that much of a feature in that episode. And I mean, he only shows up one other time in the season, and even then it's honestly
true.
His other appearance in the season gave him, I feel like, a decent amount of personality in his like arguing with Odo or whatever. So I kind of like that one.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna put Dukat at the bottom of those 4. He would not be my choice. Let me think. I love Garrick. But I don't know that his introduction was all that amazing.
Right.
Okay, wait. Vedic Win, Garrick, Dukat,
Zek.
who's the 4th one?
Zek.
Oh, thank you. Zek's introduction is great, and it's not a great episode, but we kept talking about how he is the standout, the Wallace Shawn standout of that episode. So just for being so fun, I think I would put him over Garrick. But I don't think you can beat Win's introduction as a recurring villain, where she's just so good to hate in that episode. So I have to put her as like the lead in that category.
I mean, yeah, it's just like as fun as Zek was, just with all his like little Wallace Shawn laughs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Wynn came in like a force of nature, so
Yep.
I think that is a totally fair pick. So the CZ goes to Vedic Wynn in the hands of the prophets. Okay, next category is best. I called it best guest star.
So we talking about just guest stars in general, or
Yeah, well, best guest star aside from that list,
okay?
basically. And
Okay.
the nominees are John Delancey as Q in Q-less,
Mm-hmm.
Magiel Barrett as Loxana Troy in The Forsaken,
Mm-hmm.
and Harris Yulin in Duet. Now, I think it's pretty clear who wins this award.
Yep. Well, honestly, I mean, if it wasn't for Harris Yulin, it could be like best returning. That could be its own category.
Well, I kind of wanted to do best recurring, best crossover, and then best non-recurring or crossover, but I just couldn't quite get the categories to work the way I wanted them to.
So yes, I mean, it's clear who takes the cake in that one. The other two, I honestly I never liked Loxana that much, and she didn't make me love her in this episode. But this is also maybe Q's worst appearance.
Yeah,
I would probably put him above her just for like Picard never hit me. Like that's a fun moment, but I mean, obviously neither of them can hold a candle to like the guy who carried the whole episode, basically.
Right. Just give that guy all the lines and wind him up and let him go. I mean, I think I'd prefer Loxana Troy to Q, but that's just because of the what they were given.
Sure.
In those episodes. I mean, normally I would give it to Q, no question. But okay, next category: worst episode title.
Oh,
and the nominees are Dax, Vortex, Battle Lines.
Okay.
If Wishes Were Horses, and The Forsaken.
Okay. I like If Wishes Were Horses. I would put that out.
Okay.
It's whimsical, and I think it actually fits the episode.
Well, except I put it on there because nobody makes any wishes in that episode.
Yeah, I mean it's fantasies or whatever.
Well, it's just their imaginations.
Yeah, it's their imagination. Yeah, okay. So, I think it describes what's happening because the things that they're thinking about are becoming real, and it's fun and whimsical. I like that one. So
okay.
I would put that at the bottom of this category. But it's between the Forsaken and the Vortex for me, or the Vortex for me, because we established that Forsaken, it was really, how are you? This is so overly dramatic for what it's supposed to be referencing. But I hate Vortex, and we talked about that. I think that this comes down to I hated Vortex more than you did, and I think you hated the Forsaken more than I did in that episode. So I think that's what it comes down to. I would probably pick Vortex as the worst one.
Based on your opinion of the episode?
No, based on, I don't like it as a title for the episode because I don't think it makes any sense. I mean, they go to the Shan-Ra Vortex or whatever, but...
Yeah, it's some important action takes place in the Vortex.
Yeah.
But it's when you hear a title like Vortex, you imagine there's going to be a vortex sucking people in or something like that.
Well, and I mean, because it's a show where the wormhole is a major feature, that's the first thing I think of, is the vortex of the wormhole, and it has nothing to do with that. And honestly, the Shan-Ra Vortex or whatever is like a nebula. So you could have called this episode The Nebula, and it would have been
it's not really,
the same.
It's not really a vortex, it's just they kind of call it a vortex, like the East River.
So that would be my pick, but I could understand the Forsaken is still pretty bad.
I mean, yeah, I think you put it right when that is just a way over the top title for what it's actually referring to, and it's not even clear what it's referring to. I think they were trying to thematically tie the Odo and the space computer puppy together or something. I don't know.
And Loxana,
yeah. But you know what? I'll let you have it. We'll give the CZ to Vortex.
Okay.
Since I got to pick the nominees. And then our final CZ category this season is Best Sexual Harassment.
Oh, man, there's so many good options here.
And the nominees are Quark's employment contract.
Yeah.
From, I don't even remember what episode that was in. Next nominee, Bashir's willfully misinterpreting Dax's rejection in Dax.
Yeah.
When she says that's not necessary, and he says, not necessary, but not forbidden. And then goes off to stalk her. Luckily, that wound up saving her from getting kidnapped, but still. Third nominee, Cisco advises Odo to give in to Loxana Troy's sexual advances. Which was a pretty low moment of Cisco's leadership. I think we both agree.
Yeah.
And then you just reminded me of number 4, which is Miles O'Brien being offered the beautiful young ladies of the village in The Storyteller.
Yeah.
So this I think is the toughest choice.
It was Captive Pursuit, by the way, is the one where we find out about his contract.
Okay.
This is none of it is good. I almost want to let Bashir off because he accidentally managed to like intervene in Dax's kidnapping.
Sure. So he kind of gets off on a technicality.
Yeah. She was probably glad that he showed up. And so I guess that no harm, no foul in that case. But oh man, the other ones. I guess I would have to say, but like okay, so Quark is trying to use like a legal document, like his employment contract, to take advantage of his employees, which is really, really gross.
That's pretty scummy.
But at the same time, as like his commanding officer, Cisco is like, "Yeah, no, you should just like let her sexually harass you and go for it."
Yeah, don't cause any trouble.
So they're both like this horrid misuse of authority. I'd probably say Quark.
Okay,
but it's a close run for me.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Like the fact that Quark has it kind of down to a science is like, ugh. Where he can put it into his contract, and like
it's pretty disturbing. I mean, okay, to address the last one, it was messed up when they tried to give O'Brien the village girls, but they didn't seem to mind, as far as we could tell. So I'm like, okay. I mean, if they're into it, whatever.
They probably thought he was way better looking than the last storyteller.
Well, that's true.
They had to entertain. So,
but like we've traded up. It's all good.
Okay, so Quark gets the CZ for best sexual harasser or worst sexual harasser, I guess.
I don't. Yeah, best is not the appropriate word to use there.
Okay, so this concludes the first seasonal CZ awards.
You'll have to like make a graphic for all this and put trophies popping up.
Oh heck no! This is the days of fancy graphics and screenshots are just over.
Nice. Okay.
Just take that to heart, listener. That fancy Illuminati graphic I made in the last episode, that's not happening anymore. Like
there was an Illuminati graphic?
Oh yeah.
I listened to that episode. I didn't actually look because the picture doesn't change for most of the time, so why would I look? One of our 19 views was me because I was bored and I just finished a podcast that I was listening to. I got to the last episode. I was like, I need something else to play while I'm watching or while I'm playing a video game. I need something going.
Nice. So. You are a valuable listener, just like our other valuable listeners, Allison Fordyce and the rest.
And the rest.
the ones who don't leave as many comments.
So, okay, I went through the IMDb reviews and pulled out some interesting bits. Sometimes it's just the title of the review because the actual review gets too explainy. Sometimes there's a few interesting bits. And on some of them, I have multiple ones where, like, if you can't guess because the first one is too vague, then I'll give you a second chance with another one. So, these are in no particular order. So I'm gonna read what I've got of the review, and you have to try to guess which episode it is.
Got it.
So this first review is 6 out of 10. The title is The Empty Promises of the Devil. And then the content of the review is, imagine watching a television program that has the guile to express the darkness of the human mind. Then think of a story well written that deceives both the mind and the soul. That is what this episode promised, yet did not deliver. A huge thud.
I kind of have to wrap my mind around like that. So, okay. So the complaint is it promised a story that delves into the darkness of the human psyche,
Yep.
but did not deliver.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to pull up a list of episode titles. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to guess The Passenger.
It was The Passenger.
Nice.
Good job.
Because I just remember, like, early on, they, like, tried to establish this guy as, like, the most evil person in the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we got this cartoony super villain type guy possessing Bashir's body.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now that you kind of give the explanation, I got to read the part of the second one I got for that same one though.
Okay.
Is like it would have made it much easier to guess, showcasing how horrible an amateur actor Alexander Siddig is.
Oh.
And then in the review it says that he's simply awful and without talent. Clearly, his uncle Malcolm McDowell had a hand in the casting for Deep Space Nine. Nepotism at its worst.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that was his uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, he's much loved Alexander Siddig. He's become a much better actor in like later years because
just in the course of this series, you can see he gets leaps and bounds better.
Like he was in Game of Thrones for a while. Like he's matured into a pretty good actor. So, but I would have to say Malcolm McDowell is still probably a better actor than he is.
Yeah. Also been in Star Trek though, so there's that.
Oh, true.
Maybe he's like, yeah, I'll play the bad guy in your movie if you hire my nephew.
Oh yeah, because like
those would have been around the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on, let's see. So Generations was 1994, and when DS9 started in 93, or okay. So yeah, he totally could have cut that deal.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty clear that like Generations was after Deep Space Nine started because like half the people on the Enterprise are wearing like Deep Space Nine uniforms.
The new uniform.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready for the next one.
Okay, the next one. This one, the title, it's 10 out of 10. The title is Everybody's Against Me. It like they're trying to spell against, but instead of a T, there's an apostrophe.
Okay.
And it says, I won't spoil this episode, but it's one of the most entertaining Deep Space Nine episodes ever. You have to watch for yourself because it unfolds so beautifully and has all the tension you've come to expect from a good Star Trek episode.
Okay, so the title is really throwing me there. Everybody's against me?
Against me, yeah. There's no T, so it's just...
Everybody's against me. Based on the review, that sounds like a review of Duet. But the title of the review has got me questioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's against me. I'm gonna guess A Man Alone.
Nope. Okay, I've got another one.
For the same episode?
Yeah, same episode. It'll give you a second bite at the apple. This one is rated 6 out of 10, and it says boring. So in contrast to the first one.
Okay.
The worst kind of mystery is when the audience already knows what is going on and is waiting too long for the crew to catch up. This one is obvious from the start, and then it's half an hour wait for Odo to figure out what's happening so it can be fixed. Zzz.
I mean, I would still say A Man Alone based on that. But
I know, right? It's if you hadn't already said that, that would be...
Okay, let me look through the titles here. When did Odo have to solve a mystery? I'm going to say Dramatis Personae.
Yep, it's Dramatis Personae. Nicely done.
Nice.
Okay.
So do I get the point for that episode, or?
Yeah, I guess if you get it in the second round, you get like a half a point.
Sure. Okay.
So you're like a point and a half up at this point.
Okay, I'll trust you to keep score.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So okay, here we go. The next one, there's only one chance for this. So
okay.
This one is 8 out of 10. Nervous laughter inducing in 2020. Great episode. Pretty unnerving though how relevant this still is in 2020.
Oh, that's got to be Babel, right?
Yep, that's Babel.
Every time people have such like short memories. Like it's funny how many times like you'll watch like a clip of The Simpsons on YouTube, and like it, if you remember the 90s, it's totally you remember this was totally a topical thing in the 90s, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, The Simpsons predicted the future. It's like, no, they commented on the present. Disease was still a worry like in the 90s. So
the President Trump thing was a good pull.
So how do you? Oh yeah, from The Simpsons.
Yeah, from The Simpsons.
Okay, I was like, what? I
I was
guess.
like, I don't know that was as much a commentary on. I mean, they weren't really predicting. They were just like, how ridiculous would it be? But
Yeah. Although I think, what was it, Fresh Prince, when I mean, Donald Trump did so many like TV cameos in the 90s, and there was one where someone pitches him the idea of running for president or something. I forget. There's like a screenshot of it somewhere, like some sitcom. No, the Fresh Prince was just when he walks in with his wife, and then Carlton gets all excited, and then he just walks out, basically. He delivers some, like... Yeah, I remember. That was a really lame one.
I think there's an episode of The Nanny where that happens, too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think there was an episode of The Nanny where it was implied, like, Mr. What's-His-Face was friends with Donald Trump or whatever. Yeah.
Not Jeb Bush, sorry. Bill Clinton's brother, I don't remember his name now. He
Clinton.
Yeah, he in The Nanny, he like lives next door, and he shows up in several episodes.
Nice.
Okay.
I was gonna say Roger Clinton, but isn't that a different guy?
Roger actually sounds right to me. Hold on. Bill Clinton's brother. What's his name? Yeah, Roger.
Oh, okay.
An American actor and musician, primarily known for being the younger half brother of former U.S. president.
Nice.
Okay, so next one. This one, the only one shot of this one too, but I think you should be able to get it.
Okay.
Creatures, sex, and baseball. Star Trek doesn't get any better than this.
That's gotta be If Wishes Were Horses, right?
That is If Wishes Were Horses. Yep.
I guess Rumpelstiltskin is a creature. I guess there was an emu in there, so.
Yep. And one of the other reviews were like, ostriches in space, so amazing, or something like that. So.
Someone has a business where they like lend out emus to TV productions.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then like someone at Deep Space Nine was like, "Oh, this is gonna add so much value to this episode." So we'll rent the emu for $50 for the day.
And then it's just
we'll say it's a space bird.
Yeah, it's a Jubdaw, or yeah, it's something like that.
Jackdaw, I don't know.
Okay, the next one. 6 out of 10. Slow-paced, but moving story about senior citizens.
Oh, that's got to be Progress, right?
Yeah, there's nothing else that could be. But I just like, what a great story about senior citizens.
Man, you know what? Senior citizens aren't so bad after all. It really changed my heart on the issue of senior citizens.
Okay, the next one is a 5 out of 10. The title is Sanctimonious Garbage. Mm-hmm. So they let this alien on the station with no idea what their intentions are. The captain doesn't even bother with first contact. They're breaking the Prime Directive at the end. Worse than Janeway. Some good acting, but the plot of this episode is garbage.
Okay, could that be Captive Pursuit?
It is Captive Pursuit. Nicely done.
Nice.
I cut out some of the more specific stuff where it's like, it says they're breaking the Prime Directive when the hunted is rescued at the end. I was like, well, I didn't leave that out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, are they, though?
We discussed that at the time, and I think we decided that as it's like a warp-capable species or whatever, that it's not really...
Yeah,
I mean, it's on their station. You can't really claim Prime Directive protection at that point.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely not worse than Janeway. Although,
yeah, that's pretty bad.
I think maybe sometimes Janeway gets a little bit of a bad rap, but I would have to rewatch Voyager to make a decision, and I'm not going to do that.
Nope, not doing. Okay. Next one, I got a couple different tries at this one, but the first one is 5 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Was this a form of punishment for the actors? I'm as big a Star Trek male 40-plus-year-old cheerleader as the next shut-in, but for the love of Cisco, this episode hit some rough waters. I know Meany is a talented actor. I've seen it. However, I sometimes ponder if he feels like this nerdy Star Trek show is beneath him, and he just phones in a performance once in a while. I think Shatner could have sold this one. He was bad in this episode, like first week of the job at dinner theater bad. Huh. To be fair, the script is ridiculous. And I can picture Colum sitting in his chair reading the script and saying out loud, "You got to be kidding me."
Until you mentioned Colum Meany, I was going to say Move Along Home. But yeah, I don't even think he was in that episode, so I'm going to guess The Storyteller.
It was The Storyteller, the worst episode featuring O'Brien heavily. So,
well, it's just like, oh, that scene when he's like trying to tell the story or whatever, and he's like, oh yeah, the villagers are good and they don't like the monster.
it's so bad. It's true.
It's like I can't believe this is failing to like summon their inner light or whatever.
We talked about how it's like, O'Brien, come on.
Yeah.
The other review I had for that one just said, O'Brien in a cape. Yes. Okay.
I mean, some people are easily pleased.
Yeah, well, that was a 4 out of 10, actually, with the O'Brien in a cape. So it's actually worse than the previous one, but it seems excited.
So it would have been like a 1, but like that O'Brien in a cape like bumped it up like 3 points.
Okay,
Nice.
2 more episodes, and then
Okay.
after that, I got to read one that's just ridiculous and fun by itself. So, okay. But the next one, 7 out of 10, Planet of the Jerks. That's it.
Is that okay? Planet of the Jerks. Oh, that's got to be Battle Lines, right?
It is Battle Lines. Nice. I was just thinking, like, that's so generic that in Star Trek that could be almost any episode, but they didn't go to that many planets.
That was definitely a Planet of the Jerks.
It was so a Planet of the Jerks. The other one for that was a funny one that said DS9 quirks galore, typical DS9, crazy aliens, awkward scientists, biomechanical control, and gritty sets.
Gritty sets, paper mache all over the walls to look like some dark caves.
Okay, last actual episode. Here we
Okay.
go. Absolutely embarrassing, frustrating, and awful. I hate this episode with a passion. This is 2 out of 10, by the way. I
Okay.
highly recommend skipping it. The overall premise isn't that bad, but the execution was shockingly bad.
I gotta go for Move Along Home.
It is Move Along Home.
Yes.
The best rating on that one was this 6 out of 10, which says at least the aliens acted alien.
Well, okay. Fair point, I guess.
Okay. So you got, in total, I gave you 9, and you got 8.5 points out of a possible 9. So that was pretty impressive.
Nice.
Honorable mentions, Duet. The only one I pulled for Duet, it just said Cardassian History X. Which I thought that was funny. That could have been the alternate title.
Oh, man. I wish I would have come up with that.
Missed out on that one. So then I was trying to find a good review for the final episode of the season.
Uh-huh.
And what I found was a review titled Space, Baby, Deep Space. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This wasn't for the final episode. This was a halfway point.
Okay.
I think this may actually have also been Move Along Home. It doesn't matter. But it said 8 out of 10, Space, Baby, Deep Space. And then the review is basically a review of the season so far rather than the specific episode, which is why I don't even have it under an episode heading.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, it's talking about, we're midway through the first season, Deep Space Nine. Let me talk about the good and the bad. And so he has like Captain Sisko, great actor. The setting, I thought it would be detrimental. A stationary headquarters. It turned out it's actually really good for story, so on and so forth.
Sure.
Quark, boy, was I ready to hate this character, but I've been pleasantly surprised so far. If you've ever witnessed a neurotic nightmare Neelix on Voyager, you thank the prophets for Quark's quiet dignity. And so, yeah, Quark and his dignity. That's what he's well known for, as everyone knows.
Wait, was there an episode of Voyager called An Erotic Night for Neelix?
No, it says the neurotic nightmare Neelix. So I think he just means that Neelix is a neurotic nightmare, which is true.
I thought you said An Erotic Night for Neelix. I was like, I do not remember that episode.
So, but where this one gets interesting is when he moves into the not so good.
Okay.
He feels that Nana Visitor, as Major Kira, is so far bland and forgettable.
What?
Definitely room for the character to grow. Also, who names their kid Nana?
Well, I always want to make the joke. It's like, it's good that she visits her Nana.
And then he also has issues with Chief O'Brien and Keiko. Says, it's great to see Colin Meaney from TNG, but so far he's offered little in terms of character or performance, and Keiko is the dramatic equivalent of a styrofoam peanut. My favorite was the episode where she smiled and nodded. Oh, this is a Move Along Home review, which it's because in the very last paragraph he gets to Move Along Home, which is why I was like 8 out of 10. What is this? Move Along Home. Okay, but then he has this section on The Ugly. Alexander Siddig as Dr. Bashir, vaguely British, vaguely good-looking, and thus far almost entirely useless. He's like a department store mannequin modeling a mock turtleneck. He seems to have 2 emotional settings: mildly surprised and daydreaming about donuts, which. I'm actually not going to disagree with most of what that.
Yep.
And then
he plays smug kind of well.
Oh, that's true. He plays like smug and full of himself. Like he's good
Uh-huh.
at that. Yeah. Okay, that's a fair point. But what this person really hates, apparently, is Terry Farrell as Dax. He says, "This is a joke, right? Good one. Now bring out the real actress." Farrell is not only corpse-like and comatose in facial expression and flat, stilted vocals, she's
Mhm.
physically stiff as a plank when her character is required to move. In this episode, she has to play hopscotch and follow a little girl's steps. Farrell looks like a newborn calf whose legs are not yet connected to her brain pan. There are not enough stool softeners in the world to cure her dead eyes and bland, symmetrical forehead freckles. Seriously, the woman has been a crime against acting, and we know that Star Trek is not Shakespeare. The only thing worse than Bashir and Dax is Bashir and Dax together, sharing a
Mhm.
chemistry-free flirtation and failing to connect as performers on any level.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the problem with Dax is she's trying to play an old man all the time, like a wise old man, and it just doesn't quite work sometimes.
No, I really think that the writers don't know what they want Dax to be at this point.
Yeah, and I think maybe it might be a little bit of a direction issue also, but yeah, I mean, a lot of, especially like in the episode Dax, she has a few good moments, but she has a lot of just like staring off into space.
Yeah, and that's that's the thing. She gets very little to do this season, which is why I'm like, I don't think that the writers know what they want her to be because they're not writing anything for her. And that one episode that is supposed to be all about her, she does almost nothing. She like says a few things and then is mostly just quiet and like, nope, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yep, like the reason in the episode was she was supposed to be like trying to protect her secret or whatever, but yeah, it did not work. It was not that episode is not a good episode to be titled Dax, when it is mostly about other people like trying to solve Dax's problem while she just kind of sits there and does nothing.
Yep. So well done on guessing the episodes.
Thank you. For you, I have a little trivia quiz.
Okay.
We always like trivia, and I have 8 questions, so it shouldn't take too long. I tried for an even 10, but I just couldn't. Okay. Question number 1. You ready?
Yeah.
The episode Past Prologue features a guest appearance by actress Susan Bay, who is the wife of what other Star Trek actor?
Oh. Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Does the actor have Bay in their name?
No, it is. So it's clearly not a married name. I'll give you that clue.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember the Past Prologue episode at all now because we watched it so long ago.
She plays the admiral that Kira calls to tattletale on Sisko about, and then who immediately turns around and calls Sisko and says, please stop your subordinates from like.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember her now. So she's a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me like a Star Trek show? No, hold on, don't do that.
Okay,
let me get more general. Give me. Is it like a main character or is it another like?
It is a main
type? Okay, a main character.
A main character in the Star Trek show that they were in.
Okay, so given that she was an older admiral, I'm gonna guess that we're talking not Next Generation unless it was Patrick Stewart, and I don't think I feel like that's not a Patrick Stewart spouse. So I'm gonna go original series.
Okay.
And it's not George Takei because he was not married to a woman.
All right, so good.
I'm cutting it down. I have no idea who William Shatner was or was not married to. I feel like he's the kind of guy who's probably been married a few times, so it could be him. I'm gonna guess it's one of the big 3 from the original series.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say DeForest Kelley.
Really close. It was Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, my narrowing down of logic was perfect until the last moment. Okay.
You were like you had it like down to 2, and you were so close.
I still could have been Shatner, so it was really down to 3.
True.
Hold on.
I thought you were ruling out Shatner, but
no, I assumed that you're not going to ask a question about William Shatner's wife, so now I have to see if he's been married more than once because I was just calling him a guy who would be married several times. So now give me.
I know he had a wife who died.
He has been married 4 times, so I think that I was in my rights to call him as a guy who would have been married several times.
Nice, yeah. Although one of those, again,
Right.
she
Yeah.
died.
Oh, apparently that was his shortest marriage. It says that he was married from 97 to 99 to this woman who died in 99. So that's the shame.
Susan Bay, also the cousin of Michael Bay.
Really interesting.
According to, I think I saw that on Memory Alpha. I should check this because it sounds almost too crazy to be true.
Susan Bay. Yep, cousin Michael Bay, stepson Adam Nimoy. Well, that makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just reading it. Also, it's like they had their honeymoon in Europe and Lake Tahoe.
Okay,
that's a nice honeymoon. If you
get
Europe and Tahoe, that's not bad.
I take it. Her first acting appearance was in the Many Loves of Dobie Gillis TV series. I remember that from Nick at Night when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. Was that the one with? I'm not even gonna get into it.
Yeah, no. Let's move on. Sorry. Next question.
Next question. A little easier. What is the official name of the species commonly referred to as soup aliens?
Soup aliens.
Commonly referred to by us as
by
aliens.
us. Oh crap! I know this one because we looked it up because there was like two of them, and we were like, "Is that the same guy who was eating the soup?" Oh no, we totally talked about this. I don't remember at all.
It's the Mark aliens.
Yeah, no.
The aliens named Mark.
I don't even have a vague recollection of that one. So okay.
Okay, next. What are the names of the sticks that the Wadi claim have many uses?
Oh. The sticks, they're oh no, hold on. We ragged on these sticks so hard. They were like were they something? They were like something. Quark says he has plenty of sticks. It was like a 2-word. Nah, I'm not doing well at trivia. It's they were like something pegs.
Yep, Klon pegs.
Klon pegs.
I'll give that one to you.
Okay.
Because I always like every time I try to remember that, I always like, wait, was it? It's like spelled really weird too.
Oh, is it? No, I have to look this up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Klon peg. Oh, yeah, no, it's like peg.
Yeah,
okay.
P-eggs or something. Okay, this next one I think is also going to be kind of challenging.
Okay.
What is the name of Grand Nagus Zek's son?
Oh, of course it's his son that only appears the one time ever. And, no, I don't know.
Cracks.
Stupid Ferengi names.
Yep, he's got lots of cracks. Okay, I think you can get this one, though. What is the name of the evil smoke monster that attacks a certain Bajoran village every harvest season?
Oh my gosh. So, the smoke monster is the Dalrog.
Yep, Dalrock, but close enough.
Oh, Dalrock. I was Balrog in my head, so yeah.
That would have been a way better episode.
the Balrog shows up, yes.
Just like a Balrog comes out of the jungle. Miles O'Brien's like...
Yeah, you just have to remember how O'Brien says it. He's like, the Dalrock!
And the villagers say boo to the Dalrock. I don't remember what he said, but that was the gist of it. Okay. Name the 3 commodities and amounts that were traded by Jake and Nog in the episode Progress.
Oh, no. Okay, so they start with the, like, was it 1,000 wrappages of Yamik sauce? It was a bunch of wrappages of Yamik sauce, which they trade for, like, the self-stealing stem bolts.
Self-sealing, not self-steal.
Oh, yeah, self-sealing, sorry. Self-sealing stem bolts.
Self-stealing would be really bad.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, they're gone. But it's like, it's some number of gross of self-sealing stem bolts, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember how many gross. And then they trade that for the land. Right. And the land is like, because we talk about this because it's got there's the 2 different levels of land that they talk about that I called out that sounds similar, because the old guy is talking about how he grows on this many whatevers of his land, and it sounds similar to the other one, but I assume that one is way bigger than the other.
Yeah.
Bajoran land measurements. I don't know. Okay, I'm not getting the amounts, but I got
Yeah.
the commodities at least.
Yeah. So pretty good. 5,000 wrappages of Yamek sauce, which is just a lot of wrappages. And I did like the callback when, I don't think we mentioned it, but when Maritza was eating the whatever, and he was like, could use more Yamek sauce.
Yep.
100 gross of self-sealing stem bolts.
Oh, and it's like carapates or hecapates. It's one of those two.
It's
I
tessipates.
got it.
Carapates was the... I think carapates was implied to be a unit of distance, and tessipates was implied to be a unit of, like, area, but I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I remembered the pate part.
Pretty
before
good.
We
pretty
finished,
good.
at least.
Now, if you can get this next question, I will be really impressed.
Given the track record I've got going now, I don't think it's going to happen.
Might have made it a little too challenging. Okay. So I think this is the hardest question, though.
Great.
What were the names of the two mysterious screenwriters who wrote the story for If Wishes Were Horses?
Oh no! Was that the two? Was that was the one that we looked up, and they'd like never done anything else except for like one other thing that they also did together?
Yep.
I remember
movie
this entire
a movie that
discussion.
no one's ever heard of, and we couldn't find any trace of.
Okay, hold on. I remember. I think it was like a husband and wife, or we thought they were husband and wife because they had the same last name.
Yes, they have the same last name. I'll tell you that.
Oh man! And one of them was a 3-name person. I remember that also because when I was looking, I was Googling them, and it was like a three. I think the woman had 3 names.
Okay.
I'm not gonna hold on. Let me see. The last name was like a.
If you give me the last name, I'll give it to you.
Hold on, it's in there because I googled these people so hard during that episode. Like I searched a million different ways for them.
Yeah.
Was it? I think it's a C. I'm going through C names in my head.
Okay.
It was it Connor? No. Was Crawford.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. No way.
Nice. You pulled it out.
Okay. Now hold on. If Wishes Were Horses, I have to look these people up again.
Yep.
It was I right about the 3-name thing?
Yep.
It was Nell McHugh Crawford and William L. Crawford. Okay.
Yep. So pretty good. I did not expect you to even get that much. So
I did not expect me to get anywhere close to that one, but and one of the other things I've clicked in this wiki entry is it was a Gunji jackdaw was the
oh nice
the thing.
Yeah, that's one we would have both failed right there. Yeah. Okay, so last question. What were the names of the 3 runabouts transported to Deep Space Nine by the Enterprise?
Oh shit. Okay.
And which one was destroyed this season?
All runabouts are rivers.
Mm-hmm.
But which were the first 3 rivers? I feel like, was it the Yangtze Kiang that was destroyed?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one of them, clearly.
I feel like that was the one they used the most this season, also.
Was the Rubicon another one that they had this season?
Nope.
Okay, that must be a later season.
Kind of close, but no.
There's no Mississippi, there's no Amazon, there's no Nile. Now I'm just going through rivers and trying to find one. Is there a I don't think there's a Danube.
The runabouts are Danube-class ships. I learned that while researching this.
See, I thought like Danube sounded vaguely familiar, but I didn't remember a specific runabout. So yeah, I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever say they never said it in the show. I'm pretty sure yet, but according to Memory Alpha, that is the class of ship that they are.
Let's go for. There's no Seine. There's no Thames. There's no. This is never the big rivers. There's not a Colorado. There's not a Missouri.
These are some pretty big rivers, though.
Oh, are they? Okay.
One of them we live pretty close to.
Oh, the Rio Grande. Duh. That's like that's the one that I remember best from Deep Space Nine. It's the Rio Grande, and I don't know why I didn't say that. Yeah, I don't know the last one.
The Ganges.
Oh, the Ganji. Oh, yeah. Okay,
I feel like
makes
that
sense.
was maybe the least used this season, but I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they were always going for the Yangtze Kiang or however you say that.
Hmm.
So that concludes the trivia quiz. I don't know, let's see, what's your score here?
Not good.
Let's give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 out of 8. So
Okay, that's probably more generous than I deserve.
all right. So I have one final talking point, unless you have anything you want to
No.
throw. Okay, final talking point. How would you distill this season, or would you even bother with the season at all if you were rewatching, or you wanted to do like an abbreviated Deep Space Nine rewatch?
I don't think you can do an abbreviated Deep Space Nine rewatch without the pilot.
True.
At the very least. Like, you just wouldn't work. I think, let me go back to the list of episodes in the season. I think probably nothing else is like absolutely necessary to, if you just wanted to, because as I called out many times, because it upsets me, so much is like thrown out and never come back to in this season.
Yep.
That you could go Emissary and then In the Hands of the Prophets probably, and skip everything in between, and story-wise not miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you wouldn't know the Nagus from his first appearance when he showed up the second time, but they reintroduced him well enough that it doesn't really matter.
Well, it's like every time he shows up, like, Quark is like, Grand Nagus Zek!
Yeah, it's like the boss of the Ferengi, and really, they describe his status in Ferengi society better in future episodes than in this first one, when they still weren't sure exactly how it all worked. So, yeah, I think that you could probably skip most of the season. I wouldn't want to skip Duet. I mean, if I was going to do an abbreviated, like, that I was curating, I might well just go, like, Emissary, Duet, and then In the Hands of the Prophets, because not only is it a great episode, it's a good Kira episode, and that's a good thing to have. But I don't think any of the rest is strictly necessary.
True. It depends on how abbreviated you want to get.
That's true.
Like, so I think you're like the pilot and then In the Hands of the Prophets. I mean, pretty much required.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, like, what are you even doing? Like, with this abbreviated rewatch.
Exactly. Yeah.
If
you're not going for the overall story of the show with the abbreviated rewatch, then what are you doing? And unless you're like, I just want to hit the best episodes, but
unless you want to get into the events that happen later and don't want to worry about the stuff that happens before that or whatever. But
that's true. But even then, I feel like you want to do at least Emissary to get a feel for what's happening. And I mean, In the Hands of the Prophets is also so relevant to stuff that goes on later, even like during, well, I won't get into big spoilers, but
yeah.
Some of the big events that happen later, we're introduced to the groundwork of it here. So I feel like those are important.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like necessary for stuff.
Even if you were just like, I want to hit like the best episodes of the show, maybe you'd be like, well, I'm gonna skip Emissary and I'm gonna skip In the Hands of the Prophets. Duet is one of the top episodes, maybe, so I'm gonna watch that one. But a lot of the best episodes of the show in later seasons are only really good because you know these characters, you've grown, you've watched them grow and stuff, so you can't just skip straight to In the Pale Moonlight and not have watched any of the stuff before that and expect people to get the same experience that somebody who's watched all the episodes up to there will get. So
so maybe, if we want to do a little bit less abridged, throw in Duet, like maybe like one character episode also per character, like, so like Duet for Kira, and then maybe an Odo episode.
Odo would probably be, Past Prologue is also kind of Kira episode, so I mean, if you're doing Odo, maybe, I mean, honestly, the most affecting for Odo's character is probably the Forsaken, which wouldn't be at the top of my list to show anybody, but
so that's a tough one to want to throw in. Also, like, I wouldn't necessarily still want to throw in the Nagus for Quark.
There's much better Quark episodes later that you could experience Quark with.
I definitely would not throw in Dax.
Nope, no Dax. Dax gets, like I've repeatedly said, so little development in this season that there's no way you're going to have a good Dax episode to show somebody from this season. So maybe for O'Brien, you could do like a captive pursuit for O'Brien or something. That wouldn't be bad. I mean, it's certainly better than the storyteller. There's no good Bashir episode.
Nope.
So I mean, I guess maybe The Passenger was an attempt. It's not even an attempt at a Bashir episode. It's an attempt at an Alexander Siddig episode that fell flat because he.
Yes.
What were you doing?
Fell hilariously flat, like someone slipping on a banana peel.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was gonna say maybe battle lines. That's kind of Kira, but it's also story relevant in that if you meet the Kai in Emissary, then you're like, wait, where'd she go when you get to past prologue?
Yeah, that's the. I guess like battle lines weirdly is the only besides the pilot and the In the Hands of the Prophets is the only episode that actually like is part of the overall story arc of the show.
Yep.
In a weird way.
Even that, I feel like you can get to in the Hands of the Prophets, and you're like, oh, the Kai's gone. We don't really need an explanation of what happened to her.
Yeah, they never
necessarily.
Do they ever even mention it? Like what happened to Kai Opaka? Or...
No, they don't mention it. They just mention that these people are running for Kai. That we need a new Kai.
You'd think they would have like dropped that in there somewhere just to.
You would think, but it's one of those things where they don't bring anything back.
Yeah, exactly. Like you think they would like say it's like. Because, you know, the people watching this, like, in 1993 or whatever for the first time could probably use, like, you remember the lady that got stuck on the, like, the planet of the jerks or whatever? That they need to replace her. Yeah, I think, like, weirdly, season 1 would have very few episodes compared to other seasons.
Yep.
Because they spent so little time in the middle developing any of their main story threads, like the Wormhole, the Prophets, Bajor, the Federation, Bajor Federation versus Cardassians.
That is weird that you say that because it's true that they don't develop any of the threads a bunch of threads are set up in Emissary. You know, like the threat that the Cardassians are to Bajor, how we're trying to help Bajor get into the Federation, the Prophets. All this stuff is set up in Emissary, and then it doesn't get revisited at all, basically. And while we're at it, they're not really doing that much character stuff, which, as we talked about, is like a strength of Deep Space Nine going forward. And there's a few good episodes. We're talking about like Duet sticks out as a great character episode. You've got, Past Prologue was another good Kira episode. We've talked about like there's a few where we're getting good character focus, like Captive Pursuit. You get some O'Brien happening.
Yeah,
that at least touches on the Gamma Quadrant a little bit, but they're not progressing any of the stuff that they set up in the premiere. They're not really doing their characters a big service for the most part. So it's kind of like, what were you doing this season?
Yeah, it's hard to tell like what they were attempting to do. Like, I guess they're still kind of figuring out like how much did they want to service, like, a more serialized story versus how much did they just want to do some standard Star Trek like Adventure of the Week type stuff. So
I guess Vortex attempts to make a step forward on like Odo's mystery that was also set up in Emissary, but then it's like a step that we forget we ever took going forward. So it was like a misstep, I guess. I mean,
all we really establish is that there are changelings in the Gamma Quadrant. And we could have pretty easily deduced that Odo is from the Gamma Quadrant anyway.
I mean, that's what he figures out in the first episode where he's like, wait, I was found in the Denorius belt where we found this wormhole. So this is relevant to me probably.
An episode where you felt like you were going to like move forward and learn something, but then it was just, not really. I don't really know anything. So, well, I think we got to wrap up this episode.
Okay.
So, final thoughts,
I guess actually I've just given my final thoughts. Thinking about it more and more, it's like, what were they doing this season? Like they were chasing their own tails a little bit, and I think maybe the issue is that they had to break a lot of this stuff and come up with the ideas before the filming for the season started. So they don't know what's going to hit, what's going to miss. They may not have even known when they were writing up all the stories, like, what the strengths, they may not have known who all the actors were going to be for these parts. So they wouldn't know what strengths to play into or anything like that. So this is
I mean, that's true for like any show where, eventually the writers start like more clearly writing for the actors based on, how the actors have kind of taken ownership of the character or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Although I feel like in the hands of the prophets, it kind of showed that they eventually did kind of figure out sort of what they were going for with this show.
Yeah, I mean, In the Hands of the Prophets definitely seems to be taking a step in the direction of, here, we're going to have this political stuff happening with Bajor. It sets up, or it starts to move into how Sisko's relationship to the Bajorans is going to work, which is something that, once again, is set up in Emissary and not revisited at all until that episode. Like, his status as the emissary is barely mentioned for most of the season, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And we don't even see him interacting with Bajorans all that much, except for, like, in the course of, Major Kira or whoever, in the course of his duties. When he's supposed to be, Picard's like, you were here to get this planet ready to come into the Federation. And Sisko spends very little time interacting with people from the planet.
Right. And I think, they referenced that he was the emissary in the Hands of the Prophets.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was ever mentioned in between those two episodes, even once.
Yeah. And yeah, I may have been mentioned in there, like, briefly, but he has the one episode where he's negotiating that treaty or whatever, and maybe maybe they mention it there.
I don't even think so, but
that's at least him interacting with some Bajorans.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I agree. In the Hands of the Prophets feels like, okay, here we're taking a direction.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't intend it that way. Maybe they got to that and they wrote this and they're like, oh, we'll have an interesting political thing. And then it's only after that hits strong at the end of the season that they're like, hey, maybe this is a direction we should take more with the show. So it's like a chicken and egg thing. Did they decide that before or after this? But whichever, it proves productive in the long term.
Yep, totally. Anyway, this episode's going to be going up maybe a little bit late because we were all having our vacations and going to Salt Lake City, having Thanksgiving, having car trouble. So apologies for that. And we are going to take a little bit of a hiatus, I think, before we get to season 2 so we can get our recording schedule back. And I believe the first episode of season 2, I want to upload it on Friday, December 16th. So we're going to take about a 2-week hiatus, get some episodes built up, get some other behind-the-scenes production stuff done for season 2. And then we'll have 2 a week for season 2, hopefully. So our many listeners can look forward to that. 2 Undeclared Bajors a week. And then when we get to season 3, we'll do 3 a week. No, we won't.
By season 7, that's getting real tough.
I mean, I almost want to try it, but I think we would go crazy. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Be sure to check out the description where I occasionally put links to interesting things. I'm Fletcher. About to say goodbye is Data.
Peace out. May
you all outsmart the hunters for one more day, and if not, die with honor. But either way, please remember to drop by anytime you're feeling homesick. Season 1 out.